Welcome to episode 79 of Two Guys, One Sport. We are back after a week off. Good evening. My name is Chris.
Chris, I have missed your sexy operatic baritone. How are you, my friend?
That is true. It is kind of a baritone, unless I dip into my radio voice and then I drop into the bass. I'm good.
Either way, you fit right on stage in a nice opera, maybe a nice Puccini or something.
Maybe. I'll give you a solid maybe on that one. But I'm doing really well. It's good to be back. I had myself a really freaking great time out in San Jose. A really great time. Made a lot of good connections. Met a lot of awesome people. Probably the best thing about this. For those who don't know, I was out at TwitchCon last week. I left on Thursday and came back on Monday. And the thing I can say about TwitchCon that is probably the greatest thing I can take away from the experience is that every person I met that is a streamer who is someone that I follow or am friends with online was just as awesome to talk to in person as they are to talk to on stream. Just all around, just a great group of amazing people. And I am so glad that I took that opportunity to go. I made some great connections, and hopefully it will help to grow the stream and give me more opportunities down the line. Now, that being said, I would also like to take this opportunity to say that Two Guys, One Sport, and I'm doing this as the show because it was this bad. Two Guys, One Sport officially and unequivocally says, fuck United Airlines and never fly on them again. Because that trip home, if you were following my Twitter on this past Monday for my trip home, you know it was nothing short of an absolute freaking disaster. Basically, the basic rundown is I got to the airport at 3:30 for my flight, which was at 5:30.
So far, so good.
Baggage check counter doesn't open for half an hour. It doesn't open until 4 a.m. So I'm just sitting there in baggage claim looking like a doofus, waiting for them to open up the thing and to check my suitcase. Get over to the gate and just sitting and waiting. Plane's supposed to start boarding at 5. At about 5, nothing happens though at 5. At about 5:20, they come over the loudspeaker and they say, yeah, we haven't been able to get a hold of the crew and we're not sure what their status is. So we're pushing back departure until 6, and hopefully we'll have some information for you about where they are.
Wait, the crew was like missing?
Yeah.
They were like wandering around the airport?
Nope. Crew shows up 10 minutes later. And they start the boarding process. When we all get on the plane, the captain comes over the loudspeaker and says, really sorry about the late arrival, guys. We had an issue with the hotel shuttle. And it didn't get us to the airport until just when we showed up. And I'm thinking to myself, what sort of issue could you have had with the hotel shuttle? Like, did you get on the shuttle going to San Francisco instead of San Jose? Like, what do they do there?
So this is a minor issue, but so far so good. Not terrible so far, but go on.
So not terrible. But I'm like, all right, fine. So my whole thought process is, I have an hour layover. What was scheduled to be an hour layover in Denver. As long as I can make it there before my flight in Denver starts boarding, I'm good. Mm-hmm. So, because the flight
is like my flight to Florida, but go on.
Yeah. So I'm on the plane. It's about 5:50 a.m. When they close the door, and I'm like, okay, fine. So we're only going to depart like half an hour late. So I'll get to Denver right as they start boarding on my other plane. I'll be able to get over there to the gate, no problem. 10 minutes later, captain comes over the loudspeaker again and says, we're not allowed to taxi away from the gate yet because we haven't gotten weather clearance yet from the tower. So we have to wait for them because they're not responding. And I'm like, okay, This is not great. And we're waiting. Another 10 minutes goes by, and captain comes back again and says, we got the weather clearance, but now they're not giving us our safety clearance codes. So we still can't leave the gate. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Why is this like this? Finally,
this is Sunday at like 6 a.m., right?
Yeah, this is.
Yeah, you got the B crew. It sounds like.
Yeah. So finally, at about 6:20, we start moving. Get taxi away from the gate and take off. And they come over the loudspeaker again and say, All right.
Okay, so you're in the air at this point.
We're in the air, and they say, all right, so we're going to be arriving into Denver about an hour late. We understand a lot of you have connecting flights, and we're really sorry about this change in the schedule. If you have any issues with your connecting flight and you can't make it, be sure to see United representatives at, gate whatever it is in Denver. And I'm thinking to myself, if you motherfuckers don't get me to Denver in time to make my flight and force me to get home even later back to New Jersey, I am gonna flip my shit. And I'm like internally flipping out, preparing for the worst.
Yeah, because Chris, you're nothing if not a calm and tranquil individual.
Yes, absolutely. So we land in Denver. I get out of the plane as quickly as I possibly can, and literally, like I find the big board where it lists where my flight is. My flight, we landed in Denver at gate B58, I want to say, like B58, something like that. My gate is boarding all the way down at B22.
Oh, fun.
If you've never been to the Denver airport, all the gates, all the terminals are just basically incredibly long hallways. And it's, each segment of hallway, there's a segment of hallway that has 5 gates on each side, so 10 gates in each segment. And then there's another segment that is like all shops and commercial shit. And then it's another, segment of gates and so on and so forth. But, each one is spaced out. So it's like, it's a pretty long walk to get from one end of one segment of hallway to the next. And so I'm just like, fuck it. And I just book it and start running down the terminal, run basically like half a mile purely on adrenaline fuel. And I'm not a small person, let me tell you. I don't normally have the energy or the fortitude or the knee constitution, because my knees are fucked, to be able to run that far. But I run half a mile down the terminal, get to the gate, and they're waiting for me there, and they say, oh yeah, we were going to wait anyway because there were 6 of you on the flight from San Jose, so we were just going to wait for all of you.
Oh, well,
and nice. I'm like, okay, that's awesome, but I just ran half a mile for you.
Disgusting, sweaty mess.
Yeah, I just feel disgusting. So I get on the plane, sit down, get to my seat, and whatever, and then captain on the Denver flight comes over the loudspeaker and says, all right, we're ready to go, guys, but because we have to depart late because of our late arrivals from the other flights, our departure time has been pushed back, so we're going to have to go sit on the runway for about half an hour.
Jesus.
And I'm like, this is literally the worst thing ever.
None of this sounds like United's fault except for the very beginning part.
Yeah, but all the same, it's just like, when it comes right down to it, just the chain of events is like, it was just the absolute worst. And somehow, even after sitting on the tarmac for another like 30 to 40 minutes and then taking off, we still managed to get back to Newark about 20 minutes before the projected ETA on my ticket.
Yeah, because you're flying west to east. You're flying with the wind.
Yeah. So needless to say, that was the only positive of that journey there. And yeah, it was pretty freaking bad. But overall, apart from that nightmare of travel, I can't complain. The trip was, like I said, really freaking awesome, and I'm glad that I got to do it. So now that my whole diatribe is out of the way, how have you been? What have you been up to?
I flew Delta to Florida last month. Loved it. Would recommend. So,
All right, I'll remember that for next time.
I had the same situation. I flew out of Chicago Midway to Hartsfield Jackson in Atlanta, and then I had like an hour and 10-minute layover, and then a final flight to Tampa. And there was like mechanical issues or something, so we land, and I'm not going to make the next flight, right? Because we had like an hour delay, so I blew my hour window in Tampa. And we land, and I get to the gate agent, and I'm like, I'm going to miss my flight, blah, blah, blah. And she looks down, and she's like, I have 7 flights taking off but in the next 4 hours to Tampa. Which one do you want? And I was like, oh, okay. Give me that one. She literally showed me a board, and she's like, I have one taking off at this time and this time and this time and this time and this time. Which one do you want?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you might as well give me the first one, because why the hell not, right?
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, click, click, click. Okay, here's your boarding pass. Have a nice time.
Nice.
The whole thing was super fast and convenient.
Matt DSM is absolutely right, though, in the chat. The Atlanta airport is literal Satan.
It's
the worst.
Just awful.
It is just the worst.
Just an awful, awful place. Just large and sprawling and full of Southern people, and just bad. And
this is not to say that we have anything against Southern people as a general rule, but a lot of the people that are in the Atlanta airport are.
I just have an aversion to people in general.
Yeah. Let's just call that what it is. We just do not like people in general.
Yeah, it's just like,
unless we're talking to them over our podcast.
Yeah, you're cool. Our listeners are cool.
Our listeners,
but I don't think any of our listeners were in the Hartsfield-Jackson Airport at the time.
No.
So, Chris, do you have a match of the week for the class?
I do.
Nice.
Do you?
I do.
Good. All right. Well, I'm going to do a match of the week that I have been sitting on for a while, because you know how it is. We see matches and it's like, oh, this would be a cool match of the week, and we just kind of have to sit on it, and eventually it comes time to talk about it. So this is a match that I saw when I picked up the DVD for last year's Battle of Los Angeles, the 2017 Battle of Los Angeles.
Is that the Ricochet one?
That is the one that Ricochet won.
Okay.
Yes. So when I was at the last Evolve show that I was at, which was a while ago now, because I haven't been to an Evolve show in a hot minute, which is very disappointing. I need to remedy that at some point in the near future, but that's besides the point. So the last Evolve show that I was at, I picked up a copy of the Night 2 and 3 DVD for Battle of Los Angeles, and that's the quarterfinals, the semifinals, the finals, and whatever other matches that they have to make up for
the various tag matches and stuff,
to make up for whoever got knocked out in the first round. So the match of the week that I'm taking is one that I sat on for a while, and it actually features a guy that you're going to be very familiar with, and I'm going to ask you for some insight on him after I'm done talking about it.
Sure.
This was the first match of the quarterfinals, and it was Ricochet, who eventually won the whole thing, versus a guy very well from AEW, one half of a very cool AEW tag team, Desmond Xavier.
Oh, I like him.
Yes.
Yeah, he's good. He's real good.
Yeah. So this was right from the get-go. Excalibur, Chuck Taylor, and somebody else who I don't know were all on commentary. And, Chuck Taylor was saying right from the get-go, a lot of guys, start out as, Ricochet impressionists, or, Ricochet. His exact words were Ricochet cover bands before they come into their own, and that eventually then they come into their own, and that was where Desmond Xavier was at. Was that he was in the start of the phase of coming into his own, and you could tell from this match that this was that was the basic premise of things. Desmond Xavier is a guy who has a lot of the same style as Ricochet. He's a very fast, high flying guy, and has really a repertoire that is really based a lot on movement and outwitting your opponent rather than just brute strength. When they were talking about how he had actually outlasted and beat Brian Cage of all people in the first round, which was, they were saying was a big upset win for him, which is obviously is an upset win for a guy who's 190 pounds and probably on a good day 5'6". To beat jacked as hell Brian Cage is that's definitely an upset. Whereas Ricochet has come in to the entire tournament as one of the favorites. He'd beaten Flamita in the first round and was still looking strong and dominant. But right from the get-go, Xavier was showing literally no fear and no regard for the fact that Ricochet was considered the big guy on top. Right out the gate, hard strikes, taking advantage of the ring space, really outwitting Ricochet, because Ricochet was coming in kind of cocky and had the whole I'm the champ, I'm going to be the one to win this whole thing, and Xavier's doing the not so fast, don't take me for granted, and really showed a lot of moxie in this match. The one moment that I absolutely adored, Ricochet had been dominating for a few minutes, and Xavier is hung up on the ropes, and Ricochet goes, "Is that it, huh? Is that all you got? You come into the ring against me, and that's all you got for me?" And Xavier just Xavier's hunched over and is supporting himself with his left hand against the middle rope. He just reaches up with his right hand, just backhands Ricochet across the face. just like a big fuck you moment. With still completely beat to shit, still sweaty and gross, but it just backhands Ricochet straight across the face. And I'm like, yeah, that's my guy. That's the kind of guy that I want to see. That's what I like.
I like a world with shit heel Ricochet in it.
Yeah,
I can get into that world.
Yeah, this whole tournament, Ricochet was playing the shitbird heel card pretty much the whole time.
I can get into that. It won't happen in the Fed because he's small, and but I can get into a world with shitbird Ricochet.
Yeah, I mean he was it was like he was channeling his inner Adam Cole in a way this whole time, and it really worked. It really worked really well.
Only he's actually talented. Oh, shots fired! Sorry, go
but
on.
Not incorrect. Haha.
No.
But anyway, so a lot of high flying, a lot of really awesome, great moves on this match. Ricochet wound up winning with the floating flatliner, but really, really great match. Xavier showed a lot of promise, and I would love to be able to see him in a match because I know he's in a tag team with what's his partner's name? Zachary Wentz, I think is his partner's name, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, Zach Wentz. Yeah, they're good together. They're real good together.
I would love to see the two of them live at an event. And Xavier showed a lot of promise. He's, like I said, great high flyer, a lot of promise. For a younger dude, he definitely shows that he has a ton of potential to him. And I would love to get to see what he can do on a live stage. This was the first match I'd ever seen of him. I had no prior experience with Desmond Xavier, but that match was enough to tell me, this guy's got the goods. So
he does.
I am definitely looking forward to future opportunities to check him out. And I'm actually think I might be taking one of those fairly soon because I forget what it was. High Spots.
Okay.
Or at least the network, the channel that hosts High Spots is the site that hosts High Spots is giving users a free 20-day trial as an alternative to watching Crown Jewel. So I'm gonna take that. And I'm gonna try and see if I can get some old AEW stuff, and get some lowdown, get the lowdown on some of the people that you get to see on a regular basis. Because
I may go to an AEW show Thanksgiving Saturday. They're here, so I think I may go because the lady will be out of town. She's going back home, so I'll be a bachelor all weekend. So I may have to do that. It's that Thanksgiving Saturday. Go check out an AEW show.
Good plan. Good plan.
I mean, shit. I'll have leftover turkey sandwiches and wrestling. What's not to like?
Absolutely, yeah.
Although, not a big fan of Thanksgiving turkey, to be honest.
No, I'm a stuffing guy.
I'm like 2 slices and I'm good.
Yeah. Well, my whole thing is that I prefer dark meat to light meat, and with your typical turkey, the ratio is always like 70% white meat, 30% dark meat. So I always end up with a limited selection anyway. So
turkey's just kind of there, Even like a well-brined and a well-seasoned turkey, it's still turkey. Like I'd rather have pork chops, or I'd rather have steak, or I'd rather have ribs, or you know what I'm saying? Like I'd rather have
literally not literally anything else, but there are a lot of better options for
yeah. I'd rather have a piece of fish. I had a Thanksgiving dinner with a former girlfriend where we had lobsters, and that was great.
Yeah,
we didn't have turkey. Everyone got a lobster tail. That was awesome. You know what I'm saying? Like that's acceptable too. Maybe a piece of salmon or some tilapia. I'm saying like there's a lot of options there.
Yep.
Like and turkey is like 3 slices and I'm good for the year.
Yeah. I won't go out of my way to have turkey unless it's Thanksgiving. Outside of that, it's just like no, I'm good.
No, unless it's like on a sandwich. I like pot bellies or something.
Yeah, even then, like I don't have turkey sandwiches. I don't get like turkey as a whole. I'm much more of a ham or a roast beef kind of guy.
Roast beef is what's up. So I'm with you there.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Anyway, yeah. I may do that. It's the Saturday of Thanksgiving Saturday. I think tickets start at like $25. So, I mean, what's not to like?
Since you have experience with Xavier and Wentz, like, what can you tell me about where like their career trajectory? And
they started off as sort of minor guys. Off the top of my head, I'm doing this blind. I remember a pretty good Desmond Xavier versus Jeff Cobb at last year's Jim Lyman tournament in 2017.
Nice.
Okay. And AEW is very good at taking undercard guys and slowly pushing them up the card. You look at a guy like Paco in that same instance who we've talked about before. Jake something, same story. You know what I'm saying? They have taken him, and now he has either is or was their tag team champion with Zach Wentz. They feuded with the besties in the world. They feuded with Jake and Dave Christ, who we've talked about before, and they are a definite part of the upper mid card / tag team scene in AEW, which is a top flight indie. Like, you know, I'm blessed that I have an indie like that operates in the same stratosphere as Beyond and, you know, Evolve and
Progress, all the rest of those.
Yeah. They're in the same universe. So if you are a former champion and an upper mid carder there, given the shallowness of the indie pool these days, with WWE signing everybody and New Japan signing those who are left, you know, Zack Sabre, Juice Robinson, you know, you've made it, so to speak. So I like him. He's good. He's young. He's super flexible, super agile. His style is terrifying in that, like, holy shit, this guy's gonna blow a shoulder out. But he
does a springboard Sasuke special at one point during that match, and I'm like, if he misses this, he is going to break his neck.
He's going to die. Like, you're gonna see a corpse in the ring. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
and that was actually like Ricochet went to catch him and like kind of flubbed the catch a little bit, and he wound up going into one of the fold out chairs, which was, you know, not exactly the greatest moment ever, but you know, that was one of those moments where it was like, yeah, this might not be the greatest way to operate things, hey Desmond, but you know, still awesome moves. I like what she's.
There are a lot of indie guys who are little, you know, who just are absolutely reckless with themselves.
Yeah.
In fairness to them, they are very safe to other people. They just like landing on their heads. Like, they don't put their opponents in bad positions. They just put themselves in a bad position, you know?
They follow the Bryan Danielson model.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not going to injure you because that's a dick move, but I have no problem injuring myself to get a match over.
Yeah. Which is still not optimal, but you know.
It's better, but not good. You know?
Exactly.
Like, it's better that you don't injure other people, you know, but it's not good that you just quote injure yourself. So
yeah, either way, it still is not the greatest thing ever. So, all right, what do you got for your match of the week?
I saw the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, 2 out of 3 falls between Nick Aldis and the artist formerly known as Cody Rhodes.
Okay, nice.
From the NWA 70th anniversary show, I think last Sunday.
Yeah,
maybe Sunday. I think Sunday, maybe 2 Sundays ago. Either way, relatively recently. You know,
yes.
Lot to digest here. So let's talk about the match itself, and then we'll talk about everything else. I thought the match was pretty good. I had a few minor grievances with it. One of the things it had that I loved was Nick Aldis caught Cody in his half crab, which was his finishing maneuver. And since it was a 2 out of 3 falls match, instead of fighting and getting more tired, Cody tapped out right away.
Smart.
He had another fall. Like, okay, good. Don't waste the energy. Don't, you know, because there's no guarantee that you fight and you get the ropes and now you've been in this half crab for a minute and a half and now you're fucked for the rest of the match. So you just say, damn it, I got caught, tap out, make the referee stand you up, and then, you know, live to fight another day. Mustafa Ali did that against Drew Gulak in a 2 out of 3 falls match earlier this year. He got caught in the Dragon Sleeper. Yeah, and he tapped. And even though he could have fought out and probably could have gotten the ropes, he was like, whatever, I'm tapping out because I don't want to run the risk of me being incapacitated for the remainder of this match.
Yeah.
So that was pretty crafty. I enjoyed the natural escalation between the falls and how it helped to tell the story these men were trying to tell. It felt like a meaningful fight. The title felt important that these two men were fighting like this for it, you know? I could honestly believe that each guy wanted to be the better man. You know, so wrestling's not hard, right? We talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
Jim Cornette, who I normally hate, I thought was very, very good. I'll give the devil his due here. He was excellent at conveying a big fight feel on commentary, and he really wove together the tales of history that these men had with each other, with the belt, and with the NWA. And I thought he was very, very good. So not a man I'm normally a fan of, but I'm a fair man, Chris. So I will give him his props here.
Yeah.
Let's
we normally dislike him. We normally dislike him because of him just being a shitty human being.
Yeah. But
that isn't normally our issue.
I'm now convinced that it's 90% a gimmick on his Twitter and podcast, but whatever. I don't know. You know how I feel about gimmicks. So
yeah.
Whatever. He was fine. He was more than fine here. We'll say that. Let's talk about what I didn't like while we're here. There's not a lot of wrestlers in the world to me who are worse at wrestling than Nick Aldis.
Okay.
Brandy Rhodes is one of them. In order to combat Brandy Rhodes being in this match, Nick Aldis brought a woman named Camille to ringside as like his anti-Brandy Rhodes insurance policy.
Like Camilla Kane?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I just got the name Camille. I'd have to look it up. And multiple times during the match, these two fighting took action away from the match itself. And
it was Camilla Kane. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. She was fine. Brandy Rhodes is a woman of many talents.
Wrestling is not one of them.
Wrestling is not one of them.
We have established this. Yes.
That's all I'm gonna say. Like,
great
Twitter follow, good heat, good promo, etc. The actual, in-ring aspect of professional wrestling, she's just no damn good at, Chris.
I respect the fact that she's tried, but she's tried.
She's failed.
Time to move on.
The majority of the second fall can be kind of wasted because it was a lot of boring crowd brawling that camera crews couldn't follow. It did lead to a run-in from a bunch of former NWA champions, including bald Jeff Jarrett, to try to restore order. It didn't work well, but hey, Nick Aldis won, and that's the issue here, man. I can't defend putting the title back on Nick Aldis. When Cody won the title at All In, it felt like a moment.
Yeah.
It felt like the NWA had momentum. We talked about this when it happened. I mean, for the first time, people gave a damn about the NWA. And for the first time since those cool Tim Storm videos we talked about like a year ago. Nick Aldis is a dud. He's boring. If he was in a major league promotion, he'd be like the 9th best babyface.
Yeah.
Thereabouts, right? His one redeeming value is that he looks great in a suit. Cody Rhodes also looks great in a suit.
I can name for you about 50 wrestlers right now without even breaking a sweat who look great in a suit.
Yeah, and
shit, I saw a picture today on Instagram of Braun Strowman, Big Show, and Kane all posing together, and they all look great in suits.
I mean, if you were going to rank the things a wrestler had to be good at, looking good in a suit would be pretty low on the list.
Yeah.
So the fact that is his best attribute, and it's like the 30th most important thing a wrestler needs to be good at.
Probably not.
Nick Aldis lacks a compelling story, has subpar, and I'm feeling generous, wrestling skills, and he just kind of sucks at everything he does in the context of this business,
Which is unfortunate, but, not everybody can be good at everything.
But that's okay. I mean, not everyone can be good at this.
Yeah.
The first time he had the belt, nobody cared about the NWA. And Cody won, and everyone said, let's give the NWA a shot. And now we're back. Now, I understand Cody may have wanted to lose the belt. I understand that he's been teasing with the Bucks and Omega going to the WWE. I don't buy any of that for a second with Cody Rhodes. I can't speak for the Bucks and Omega. I think there is a 0% chance Cody Rhodes goes to WWE. He has mentioned on numerous occasions how much he likes being his own boss and how much he hates to travel and how much he hates being away on the holidays and et cetera, et cetera. And he's been there. He knows.
Yeah, and let's be honest here. Even if he does go to WWE, there's nothing that says that they can't just immediately stick him back in the mid-card and just make him, a complete and utter, just space filler.
Yeah,
and that I would say is a likely occurrence, if anything.
I don't see him going to the WWE, so I don't get why he had to drop the title right now. But even if Cody Rhodes had to drop the title, even if Cody Rhodes said, do not want to be your champion. It was fun for 2 months, but I don't want to do the thing where I got to go to every little NWA affiliate in like Temple, Texas, or Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, or wherever. Even if he did not want to be the traveling champion and you had to take the title off him, why the hell are you putting it on Nick Aldis in the year of our Lord 2018?
Yeah. It's not like there's not, at least
I got 2 names for you.
3 dozen other guys in the indies who are more worthy title holders.
I got 2 names for you right now. You ready? Off top of my head.
Yep.
Willie Mack and Sammy Guevara.
Hell yeah.
I mean, and shit, I'd rather have bald Jeff Jarrett win it. Because at least he's entertaining in some perverse fashion. Mm-hmm. I'm glad the NWA has found a niche, as small as it is. But I don't care about your promotion if Nick Aldis is running it.
No, not at all.
So I don't. Whatever. So yeah. Like I feel like it's just a missed opportunity to keep the belt on Cody Rhodes and see what happens,
or make
somebody.
Yeah.
Make
something we've talked about plenty of times on this show.
Yeah. Make Sammy Guevara. Make Willie Mack.
Yeah.
Make whomever.
And I would say if there's two different sides of things, because Willie Mack is arguably already made. Between his work in Lucha Underground, his long-term tenure in PWG, and the excellent work he puts in there, and everything else he does in the indies, I would argue that Willie Mack is already made in a lot of ways, and being the NWA champ isn't going to be a huge add to his resume, but it still is an add, and it's still is something that could be in the long term a great little notch on his belt. And who am I to say that adding notches to the belt is something that anybody should not do? Whereas a guy like Sammy Guevara, who is still pretty young, still getting his feet under him in a lot of ways, and still getting his name out there, that would be a way to make a guy. That's the guy who could stand to be made with that title, absolutely, and should be made in a lot of ways because he's a fucking great talent.
Yeah, he is.
So I would not be against putting the belt on Sammy Guevara.
The match itself was fine. I don't know, 3.25.
Yeah.
It was fine, but production issues. We rag on the WWE all the time for their production stuff, but I mean, at least they follow the action most of the time. I'm not asking for a lot. You know what I'm saying, Chris?
Yeah.
But give me something to work with.
Let's just make sense.
Yeah.
That's all we ask. We just ask for people to make sense.
That's it, man.
That's all we want.
That's it. That's my match of the week. Cody Rhodes and Nick Aldis. Yeah. I watched the Nick Aldis match, Chris, so you don't have to.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
I'm always willing to take one for the team.
Yes. And you do a good job with it. All right. So
we have 3 things to talk about.
Yes. And one of them we are late talking about because of how we're taking a week off while I was off in San Jose. But it is something that absolutely needs to be addressed. And, literally every other wrestling media outlet has covered it, over the course of the past week, 2 weeks since it was announced. But for those who need a reminder, because I'm sure that everybody who follows this show knows already what we're talking about. On Monday Night Raw on Monday, October 22nd, Roman Reigns announced that he was vacating the Universal Championship and he was taking leave of absence from the company because he has a return of his of leukemia, which he had never publicly revealed, but that he has been apparently had been suffering from for 11 years. So it is. You know what? You talk about this first, please. This is a topic that really it hits hard in a lot of ways.
I mean, you have the world by the balls sometimes, man. He's 33, right? Young, good looking, jacked.
Yeah.
Three kids, right? A loving wife.
3 kids, beautiful wife.
Coworkers who adore him, a boss who loves him, millions and millions of people out there who give a damn about this guy,
Yeah.
You're at the top of the world. You're the champion of the biggest company in the history of this business. And sometimes life just hits you, you know? And he mentioned something during his promo, which was incredible, by the way, just about how he says, I'll be okay because I have faith. And, you know, Roman and I, we both prayed to an awesome God. And it's not something I like to talk about because it's not my place to talk about. But when he said that, and he's mentioned his faith before, and he says, my faith will get me through this, and my support will get me through this. And I joke all the time about, you know, thoughts and prayers. And God teaches us that thoughts and prayers without action don't mean shit. Yeah. So I made a small donation to LLS, the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society of America. It's tax deductible. And I would strongly urge anybody listening to this program to spare even a few dollars, because anything because it's Roman. Roman has the love and the faith and support and the adulation and the regimen, but cancer doesn't care about that shit.
No.
The only way to beat this is through research and treatment and clinical studies and testing, and it will not be easy for the guy. I mean,
no, not at all.
But the only way he will have the tools to do that is if we all do what we can do to help him. You want to walk with him? You know, you want to walk with cancer victims? Like, the best way to do that is to open up the checkbook. And I understand it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
But every dollar helps, man. And if you can find a way to donate to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society or the American Lung Association or ALS or diabetes or whatever your liver failure or whatever your cause du jour is, you know, like,
yeah.
And as painful as it is for him, and as terrifying as it is for him,
and it is,
and it is, I'm sure it is, because going through it once sounds like hell. Going through it twice just sounds just like hell times 50, you know?
Yeah.
Like, but the big man has all us, and he prays to an awesome God who will look out for him. So I'm sad. I am sad, not for Roman Reigns, but for a father of 3 kids and a husband to a wife. And I'm sad for them, but I am emboldened, and I am optimistic, and I am positive that he will dance at his daughter's wedding, Chris. I know it. And he may never wrestle again. And that would suck. That would just be an absolute just gut punch. Yeah. But Roman Reigns may not be fine. But I know in my heart of hearts that at the end of the day, that Joe and I will be fine. And that makes me happy. As much as I'm sad, knowing that makes me happy.
Yeah. So. I'm going to share something that I shared on One Night at the Round Table, which was the special Tuesday show that we did, me and Taker's Meaning and Legends Lover. The night after this came out, this news came out, we literally had less than 24 hours to process that.
When I was on the air, when we were on the air, so
you guys were on the air with Connoisseurs, and like I tuned in to, like, you know, you guys were all stunned, and the following night when we were talking about it, we were all still stunned. I had a cousin named Kelly, and she lost her battle with leukemia when she was only 10 years old. She was the same age as my sister. Now, I didn't know Kelly very well. My dad's side of the family is huge. He's one of 10 kids. I had 27 first cousins on his side of the family, and Kelly and her family, they all lived down in Florida, and me and my family were up in Rhode Island. So I didn't really ever know her. I could probably count on one hand the number of times that I ever was in the same space as her. I know what a lot of other people have said about her. She loved sports, that she was a very vibrant personality, much like her parents and her sisters, and that, you know, she was just a really awesome kid. But I don't think I have any actual memories of her, and, you know, of what of anything that she and I shared in person. And, you know, that is it's disheartening to me in a lot of ways. You know, you never really realize what you might lose when a person goes. But that was a moment where I realized what, you know, that moment of hearing the announcement made me think back to Kelly and to, you know, how she left us at such a young age, and just how much was lost by the fact that she didn't get to experience anything beyond that short little piece of life that she had. And, you know, it really just hit really hard, and it still does. You know, Roman Reigns, well, not Roman Reigns, Joanna Y and I could not be any more different in terms of who we are. You know, he was born literally 51 weeks before me. His birthday is May 25th, 1985. Mine's May 18th, 1986. He's literally 51 weeks older than me. He is, as you said, loving husband, father of 3, is a great all-around family life. I'm single, don't know if I'll ever have kids, don't know if I even want to have kids. He's the leader of his company. He has an incredibly successful job, does what he loves and loves what he does, and is very successful from it. I'm barely making enough money to pay my bills. He is in the peak of physical shape. He is a specimen of humanity, unlike any other, and is, you know, takes care of himself, eats right, does everything that he should. I am very much not any of those things. I do not take good care of myself, at least not as good as I should. If he can be hit by this, it really is a gut punch to realize, you know, if he can be hit by this, literally anybody can. And, you know, it's a scary moment. It's a scary realization. And to think about, you know, comparing what he has lived through so far in his life, and what, you know, what would happen what would have happened if he hadn't beaten it the first time? What might happen if, you know, God forbid, if he does not beat it this time? Because, you know, as much as I believe, just as much as you, that he is going to come back and, you know, he's going to beat this thing, we still have to accept the possibility that might not be the case. And what he might miss out on, what my cousin missed out on. It's a very sobering moment to consider those things. And something that Taker and I agreed upon, that we're going to be doing when we make the move over to Twitch at the beginning of next month. Big part of the Los Ingobernables Listed podcast channel is going to be, we are going to have active donation links, active at all times, for people to go and donate to American Cancer Society, Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, any sort of active charities that are doing that good work to help bring about an end to this horrible disease that afflicts us. We will be making that a priority to focus on that, because that stuff does matter. It really does. And, you know, as for me, you know, it would suck. Like you said, it would absolutely suck if Roman Reigns, the professional wrestler, never comes back. And we talked about if he comes, if he is able to come back, when what it's going to sound like when the roof is going to get blown off the stadium when when his music hits, and he's making his comeback. The place is going to absolutely lose its fucking mind. If that moment doesn't happen, it would be a very disheartening moment. It'd be a very disheartening thing. But what would be even worse would be if if Joanna White does not come back at all. That's the thing that is more important here. So, regardless of, and a lot of people out there, and this has been said a number of times, your opinion about Roman Reigns doesn't mean shit in this moment. And your opinion about what his status is with the company, what he has done over the course of time, what sort of favor he's curried within the company, all these things, none of that fucking matters. What matters is the fact that a man is sick, a man has 3 kids and a wife that he needs to go home to, and a man needs to be given that sort of strength to continue forward. So in this moment, I say, please give your best thoughts and wishes to Joanna Y for health and recovery, and just to be able to get through this one more time, because he needs it, and and he deserves it. He's a good human being. Again, regardless of what you may think about him or about what he does in that ring, regardless of all of that, he is a good human being, and he deserves nothing but the best wishes that we can offer to him. So that's my little tangent. And I can only say that whatever happens, whatever comes next for him, that he comes away from this successfully. That is all I can hope for. That is all any of us can hope for. So
we were gonna do a thing where we were gonna go run down the list of names of people who could be the guy, and it felt really ghoulish.
Yeah.
So we shelved it, maybe indefinitely, maybe not. I don't know, but it just feels really icky. So, but you know what I noticed listening to that promo, which again was tremendous. I really, really, really hope.
I don't even want to call it a promo, because it wasn't a promo.
Applies, but that's exactly it. I really, really hope when he returns, the WWE just lets him be the guy that he was in that ring. No stupid flak jacket, no fake bullshit, no fake catchphrases, just that authentic guy.
Mm-hmm.
That guy standing there in the ring is the man. Capital T, capital M.
Yeah, that's someone that we can root for.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's none of the other presentation shit, and it's so utterly trivial. But I was watching that, and I was like, this is the guy right here, with his hair pulled back and his gold chain and his t-shirt. Not in cargo pants and a flak jacket and a thing on his fist and making stupid phrases that other people write for him. Like, this is the guy right here. This man, this advocate is the guy, and it's really depressing that it took this for me to be like, oh, okay, but it's so, I don't know. There's just,
I understand, dude. Absolutely. It is disheartening that it took a moment like this for them to say, okay, go do your thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Just do what you need to do.
In a company, and not even a company, in a business where everything is massaged and everything is a front and everyone is got masks. Everybody in this business wears masks, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes the mask slips, and you're left with just the raw soul of a man standing there in front of 15,000 people and millions, and you say, "Damn, that's strength to stand there in that ring and say I'm sick." Like
Yeah. That takes
power. That's power, man. That's power. And power's not that's power. Is what struck
yeah.
me watching that. You know,
It takes a lot to be able to stand there and do that. It really does.
that's your
And
man. That's your guy right there.
I will take that statement, to my dying day, that was a moment of strength that I will never be able to replicate. I've been through.
Don't sell yourself too short, man.
Well, I mean, what I was gonna say is I've been through some shit in my life. We've all been through some shit in our lives, to varying degrees of other, greater or smaller than others. But when you come right down to it, all of us struggle with our shit in different ways. And the reaction that the world around us engenders in most people is to hide and to keep it to ourselves and not to go be out there with our stuff. For that man to go out there and to stand in front of a stadium of people who, when he got out there, we're looking at Roman Reigns, the character that they've been viewing all this time, and we're treating him as they always did, booing him and treating him just like the guy. And for him to go out there and and say to all those people, yeah, by the way, actually, it's more than just the character. It's also the man behind the character, and that man is in a bad way right now. That takes a lot. That's something that most people are not able to do every day, because we all have our shit that we go through every day, like I said. And he had to go out there in front of not just all the people in that stadium who think that they know him and think that they have some sort of a window into his life, but all the people watching at home too, everybody watching on the internet, all that stuff. It's like
I'll go on.
He stood in front of that and confronted that in a way that is pretty amazing to me. So I give him major credit for stepping out on faith. And it very easily could have been WWE releases a statement saying that he's dropping the title, that he's has leukemia, and that he requests privacy at this time. Very easily could have done that. He walked out there into that crowd of people that come out there and boo him every week, and was honest and open and genuine with them, and in a world environment that is often not pretty. I don't like to think about this as being a possibility, but it very easily could have been that there were jackasses in that crowd who would have come up to him, who would have confronted him making that statement, and would have still booed him and been happy about the fact that he's leaving and their favorites are getting are going to have a spot now. And because there were people like that, maybe not in the stadium, but there were people who were like that on Twitter. And that kind of shit is the grossest, most disgusting behavior possible. But thankfully, he put himself out there, put himself at risk in that way, and thankfully, the people who were in that stadium responded with respect, as they should have. So I'm glad for that, at least.
Small blessing, right?
Absolutely.
It just is. It's an absolute gut punch, which is the phrase I keep coming back to. Like, you at the top of the mountain, but
yeah,
sometimes you gotta climb that mountain twice, man, and 3 times. And life isn't a linear path. It's not a video game where you keep leveling up. It's
no.
Sometimes you get laid low, but it's, you know, I'm optimistic for him.
Me too.
You know, I am optimistic for him, and I am optimistic for this community that I normally disparage with a passion, and well deserved, that it seems to have come together around one of the true good guys. You know?
Yeah, because he is. You know, there are always going to be people who are going to say that, you know, the behavior that is shown towards him by others is, you know, is just a front. You know, it's just, oh, it's WWE social media team that, you know, taking over the wrestler's Twitter.
Yeah, but that doesn't explain.
That, you know, that is not the case, and you can tell.
That doesn't explain Will Ospreay going out of his way to tweet about the guy.
Jim Smallman,
or Jim Smallman, or Juice Robinson, or Jay White, or you know what I mean, or whomever,
any of them.
or Walter, or the outpouring of people who have nothing to do with the WWE.
Yeah,
who don't even know the guy, who say this is our role model. You know, like New Japan tweeted about him. They have no reason to do that.
Nope.
Like, but they did because it's the right thing to do for a good guy.
Yep.
Now, one thing I want to ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I hated is I hated that the company didn't tell anyone backstage beforehand. I understand trying to work the audience. That's the point. I don't quite get trying to work the boys and girls in the back.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
I don't need to, like, Michael Cole handled it like a professional because he's done this before. He's literally been in war zones. I don't. Corey Graves and Renee Young and Michael Cole should not have found out when we all found out.
Yeah.
Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins should not have found out when we found out.
I'm gonna take a wild guess, and like again, this is a wild guess, but I'm gonna you know take a flyer on the fact that with the three of them being, you know, as close as they are, I'm gonna bet that Roman had told them right before he went through the apron. Okay. And, you know, maybe
I don't know, but I mean, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm a little uncomfortable with that.
Yeah, no, I get that.
I wasn't thrilled with that. I didn't like. You can tell that Graves and Cole and Renee were just as devastated as we all were, but they had to be professionals about it because they were.
Yeah,
and they handled it well. And they handled it far better than I would have in any situation like that.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm not saying, oh, they fucked up. You know, no. I'm just saying that, you know, the show starts at 7 Central, 6:45. They should have had an all-staff meeting and saying, this is how we're opening Monday Night Raw. Yeah. Be ready. You know?
Yeah.
Know this going in. You know, especially the three of them who are out there. You know? I don't like, if you don't want to tell Ty Dillinger because he's not involved, fine, whatever. You know, and I'm not picking. That's just the first name that came to mind. I'm not, you know.
No, of course.
Saying, but I feel that you should have let the people who were out there on camera know ahead of time, even a little bit ahead of time. Hey guys, something bad is happening. You know, you'll have a chance to grieve later. But like, I mean, Renee Young is his de facto sister-in-law. She should have found out beforehand. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah.
I don't know. That seemed kind of upsetting, but
no, absolutely. No, I'm with you on that. You know, there are some moments, some instances where the presentation matters less than the content, and this was absolutely a case of that. You know, Joanna Y battling a life-threatening illness absolutely is more important than, you know, making sure that reactions are authentic among your talents. That's just, you know, that's just beyond unnecessary at that point in time. So I was, you know, I agree with you. I was less than thrilled by that, but yeah, again, thankfully they were all professionals and they all handled it like the professionals that they are, and I'm glad that they did. I mean, you could tell that they were having a tough time holding it together. And if I was in Michael Cole or Corey Graves or Renee Young's shoes, I don't know that I would have been able to continue doing.
They did a masterful job, and I'm not condemning them in any way, shape, and form.
No, not at all. And even beyond that, to be able to continue on with the rest of the show, which in all honesty is trivial afterwards, is incredible on their part.
So. Yeah, it sucks, and we keep coming back to that. It sucks. It sucks, but
the Connor Braxton story, though. Did you read about that?
Yeah, with the boots, right?
Yeah, with the boots. Yeah. That's something that that's gonna stick with me for a long time. Reading
you know what I loved about that story, real quick. That Roman Reigns wasn't the guy to tell that story.
Mm-hmm.
Let me elaborate. And everybody does this, so I am not just picking on the WWE. But when WWE does their goodwill, if you do charity and cameras are there, you're not doing charity, you're doing public relations.
Yeah.
And again, everybody does this. So I'm, if you do charity and I hear about it third hand, you did charity. If you do charity and you have TV cameras there, you're not doing charity, you're doing public relations.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns, so that's the difference between WWE doing their Susan B. Komen shit on camera so they can get accolades, and Roman Reigns doing a good deed in private that we never would have known about. Nope. And that's the true measure of a man, or a true measure of a man or woman, is what you do in the dark when no one else is around.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
That's charity. That's a hell of a lot more charity than any company donating any amount of money on television or any amount of time on TV or any amount of shit on Twitter so that people can get accolades for them.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely.
So that was really touching to me, because he did that and didn't shout it from the mountaintops. Didn't say, "Hey guys, look at me, I did this." He did it because it was the right thing to do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Who you are in the dark, man, it matters. It absolutely matters.
It does.
So,
Madeline, I am inclined to believe that you are correct about that. Yeah. I would not be surprised if that was entirely Roman saying, I want to be the one to make that speech. I want to be the one to, get the word out about this. And, that's the kind of person he is. That is just the way that he's always been. In a company that is, very good at presenting itself as fake, with a roster of people who are very good at presenting themselves as fake, because they're all good at reading the scripts that are given to them. Roman Reigns is someone who has always managed to make himself feel authentic and look authentic, even in the moments where he's been, handed absolute shit to work with. It still comes across, with some degree of authenticity. And this was no different. But this had a much even greater degree of authenticity than a lot of the stuff he normally does, because he's living this, and he managed to make it feel just as important for us as I'm sure it is for him. So that I have a lot of respect for that. Mm-hmm. Good point, Madeline. So apparently Cole, Rollins, and Ambrose knew he was giving up the Universal title, but they didn't know why. Okay. As apparently the word.
Okay. I would have told the announce team beforehand, even if it was in their headsets as he was walking out. I would have said, something bad is happening. Be ready.
Yeah.
I feel that they should not have been blindsided, but it's done. And I'm not. It's done. It's a difficult decision. I'm not going to rake them over the coals for that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I didn't want it to bring. I wanted to bring that up. You know, so do you Evolution?
Yeah, let's talk about Evolution. Thank you guys also for your contributions to this discussion because this is, obviously
a lot heavier than we normally deal with.
Yeah, it's a very hard topic, but you know what? It needs to be discussed, and so I'm glad that you guys were so willing to participate in it. That that means a lot to us.
We have the best listeners, Chris. We're blessed. We really are.
We really are. We genuinely are. You guys are the greatest, and thank you for always being the greatest. Evolution.
Overall thoughts on the show? Before we go card by card or match by match, excuse me.
This card had all the makings of being of a card that WWE was basically saying they didn't care about, and those ladies went out there and made it one of the best damn pay-per-views that this company has put on in the past 10 years. It's fucking great. Incredible card, incredible matches, all around just, stellar stuff. And I am honestly just I think that we are blessed to have, some of these performers in our time. Because a lot of those women out there, who've never been given a chance, who have always been taken for granted by the company, women like Alicia Fox, women like Natalia, women like even the women in the Battle Royal, some of the legends in that Battle Royal, like Molly Holly or Kelly Kelly. They went out there and they freaking delivered with everything that they had. And they delivered a pay-per-view that I would be hard-pressed to find a good comparison to in any, in recent memory.
This was the main roster show of the year. I don't think it's particularly close.
Not at all.
I went in cautiously optimistic, and I thought all 3 title matches and the Mae Young final were tremendous in their own different ways. And that doesn't mean I didn't think the rest of the show was good. I thought this was a excellent show. I really liked it a lot. It flew by, didn't drag. I cannot tell you how many times I watched and it's like, oh my God, another 2 hours of this shit.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Yep.
I thought it was
more than enough pay-per-views with that.
Yeah.
This was not one of them. In fact, I would dare say that there were some of those matches that I wish had gone on even longer. Like
the only thing I hated, and you know me, I absolutely hated the ending.
Yeah.
But you knew as soon as that shit happened, you're like, oh, George is gonna hate this shit.
Exactly. Yeah, I told you. Yeah, I saw that. I'm
as predictable as the MF and Sunrise, Chris.
Yeah. It's if there's 3 things you can count on in the world: death, taxes, and George hating them going out of character on the show.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. So, yeah. But this, that was the last 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let.
Even then, they still managed to work in a good thing towards Survivor Series with Becky and Ronda. Yeah. Standing next to each other at the end. Holding up their titles towards each other.
Yeah. So they salvaged it, but I still was like, oh God, here we go. I almost blinded myself, rolling my eyes, back into my head.
My eyes nearly fell out of my head.
Yeah, I was like, oh no,
not this shit again. Yeah, but yeah, no, I totally respect that. I understand that completely.
I get it. It's what they do. Like at this point, that's on you for watching them than on them for changing. Like you know what you're getting into with them.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that they only do it with the women because let's be real here. It's not as if the men don't congratulate themselves over their big accomplishments. Need I remind you all of the curtain call? It's not as if there's no precedent for the men doing these things too. But because they're women, we have to present them as being oh yeah, woohoo, women. So. It's dumb, but other than that, this was a night for the ages, as it should have been.
Not even that. It would have been a night for the ages otherwise, because it's the first WWE women's main event, a women's only show.
Yeah,
and if it was just a show, it would have been memorable. But the fact that it was also really good. Like makes it that much better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the first WrestleMania wasn't that good of a show, but because it was the first WrestleMania, it was memorable. You know, like this was the first WrestleMania for women in the company's history, and it could have been just a show and would have been fine.
But it was fucking awesome.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
let's talk about this. All right. So let's start with the opening tag match, which was the rightful opening match of the show. Trish Stratus and Lita defeated Mickie James and Alicia Fox with Alexa Bliss at ringside. Trish looks great. Trish looks like she could get back in the ring today.
Yeah, Lita not so much, but that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, well, we knew that was the way it's going to be because every time that they brought Lita back in the past like 2 years for any sort of special thing, she has not really ever looked like her best, but she still gets it done when she needs to. And
I thought Mickie James looked awesome too, but
Mickie James was great.
But we know she's awesome.
Yeah, and Alicia Fox, who normally is not known for being a great worker, she pulled her weight in a way that I was very surprised and very pleased to see. She did a great freaking job out there. And, selling the character work, I mean, that's something that she's always excelled at, but she, dialed it up to 11 the way that she needed to for this match, and it was fantastic.
She kind of blew that spot at the end. Out of position. But you know what? This was everything it needed to be and more. Crowd was super into it.
Yeah.
All 5 people involved played their parts well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Lita's lost a step clearly, but she didn't kill anybody with the moonsault, which is no guarantee with the moonsault.
Yeah.
So and Trish looked unbelievable, and Mickie James looked just as good as she has for 15 years. Mickie James is somehow underrated, despite being one of the best women's wrestlers for a long time.
Yeah, she's always been great.
Great for a long time. She's still great.
The problem is that every era she's been in, she's always been overshadowed by, and every place she's been in, she's always been overshadowed by other performers for a variety of different reasons. You look at the first WWE run. Trish and Lita, they were clearly the spotlight characters, and even after Trish and Lita retired, both of them retired by Mickie James, or at least retired in matches which featured Mickie James. Even with that being the case, Mickie was still in their shadow. Then she went to TNA, and it was all Gail Kim, and Awesome Kong, and
and then the weird knockouts like Velvet Sky and stuff.
Yeah,
Angelina Love and Lacey Von Erich and that strain, the Beautiful People era and all that stuff.
Yeah, that group, which was very clearly trying to be WWE Divas era, which they should not have tried to be, but that is what it is. So she was always outshined there. And then, she comes back to WWE right at the same time as the 4 Horsewomen are making their ascendance, and all the other indie talents that WWE has signed are starting to, make their presences known. So, even though she's still working great and doing awesome stuff and helping to get over other talents that are clearly not as good as her, Alexa Bliss, cough, cough, Alexa Bliss. But, she still puts in her miles, puts in every scrap that she has, and does great stuff. So Mickie James, props to you for always doing the job and never complaining and doing awesome stuff.
Well said. Fun match, good opener. Crowd was into it. All you can ask for.
Great start to the
great.
Great
we're off to the races.
Yeah, great crowd heater. Next was the Battle Royal, which featured. Do we have? Oh yeah, here we go. Peyton Royce, Billie Kay, Molly Holly, Kelly Kelly, Tori Wilson, Sonya Deville, Alundra Blaze, Maria Kanellis, Lana, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, Michelle McCool, Naomi, Carmella, Ivory, Asuka, Tamina Snuka, Zelina Vega, Ember Moon, and Nia Jax, who won the whole damn thing.
I've said my piece on Nia Jax multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to say it again. She does less than nothing for me.
I will say that I like the fact that they, it made sense to have her win with the whole presentation of her being the Giants. It made sense to have her to
Giants win battle royals.
That's how that
goes. And have forever. So
so that was bound to be the case. So that made sense.
Go on. That being said, I thought not only was this perfectly competent, it was pretty great.
Yeah.
The blending of nostalgia along with current feuds made the match feel important and a spectacle, which is kind of all you want from a battle royal.
Yeah, the little surprises that were injected here and there, like Mandy Rose being the one to eliminate Sonya Deville, that was great. Lana trying to play peacemaker between Tamina and Nia, only for them to team up and eliminate her.
Yeah.
That was really great.
Ivory looked awesome.
Yeah. Molly Holly, for the little bit that she was in there, looked really great too. Asuka getting eliminated by Ember Moon, stunner of the night, and I loved it. I loved everything about that, and I can't wait for them to use that as grounds to build on for them eventually facing off again, because it's going to be fucking awesome, as we've said. Two of them.
I thought the commentary kind of sucked for that spot. They didn't seem prepared for it.
No, they did not. But
the commentary wasn't great all night. But what I mean, at this point,
it was hit and miss. It was hit and miss all night. That is what it is. But Tamina and Nia's tribute to Roman was great in the middle of that. Really, really freaking cool. Overall,
the match was good. I'm done with Nia Jax. I'm done with her.
Yes.
I've said that multiple times. Like I'm not changing my mind on her anytime soon.
I understand
her presentation. So I would have put Emma Moon over. You want to make somebody, make somebody.
Yeah. I would have been all in favor of that. But they still.
This was still a very good match. I didn't hate the match, even though I didn't love the outcome. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Makes perfect sense. Mae
Young.
Toni Storm defeated Io Shirai to win the second Mae Young Classic. This match was short. It was shorter than I would have liked it to be.
I kind of liked that it was short, though, to be honest.
Yeah.
Not every match is Okada Omega.
No,
not every match needs to be long. If you have a short match, you teach your crowd that sometimes matches end out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And the fact that I liked this match because it felt out of place in a great way. This was a Joshi match. I thought of you watching this match.
See, my whole thing is that I loved the fact that it was paced like a Joshi match is. I thought that was really cool. But my whole thought is, and maybe I'm wrong for thinking about it in this way, but these two people, Io Shirai and Toni Storm, people who are likely being presented to at least a somewhat significant portion of the crowd as people that they haven't ever seen before or heard of before. So giving them more time to show why they're as impressive as they are, I think would have been a better thing to do to get people more invested. Granted, the crowd was hot for the match the whole freaking time, as they rightfully should have been. But I mean, and maybe this is just me wanting two of my favorites to get a little bit more screen time, but I would have liked if the two of them got a little bit more time, just to kind of show a little bit more of what they can do.
Chris, if you're channel surfing, and obviously you have to watch the network to watch the show, but if you are watching this, and this is the first time you've seen Io Shirai and Toni Storm, right? You didn't watch them at the Mae Young, who both had excellent semifinals among other matches.
Yeah,
the Toni Storm Mako Satomura match was incredible,
and that wasn't even her best match of the tournament, which is
an
amazing thing.
But I'm saying, like, if this is the first time you have seen these women ever, and you're not impressed, then that's not on them, and that's not on the time. That's on you. You're the one who's missing something, man.
Fair.
Like,
I can.
I understand what you're saying, but I liked that it was short. I liked that it was hard hitting. How about that German on the edge of the ring? Holy God!
My God.
I haven't loved the Io Shirai and WWE experience so far. To be honest,
it's been all of 4 matches.
Yeah, no, obviously, she rebounded in a big way. And you don't need me to tell you, if you're listening to this show, you don't need me to tell you that Toni Storm is an absolute superstar. I mean, you have eyes and ears. You can tell on your own. You don't need me to tell you that. She's 22, and she's so far ahead of where she should be. age-wise and development-wise. I mean, if she stays healthy and she stays driven, I mean, we're talking all-timer.
Yeah.
All-timer.
It's almost like those Australian female wrestlers are actually really fucking good at their jobs.
Yeah, and the other girl and the other lady in the ring is one of the 10 best wrestlers in the world.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way.
If not, you know, one of the 10 best wrestlers of all time.
I thought this was one of the best matches in the company all year on the main roster. I think it's if I was doing a top 10 WWE main roster matches, this is easily in the top 10, maybe in the top 5.
Yeah.
I loved this match. And I liked that it was short. And I liked that it was different. And I liked that Toni Storm won. And I liked that Io Shirai looked good. And I liked that it took 2 Storm Zeros. And I liked the crowd was into it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to wrestle again sometime down the line. And it's going to be 21 minutes. And it's going to be great.
Yep.
So I was cool that this was just a 10 minutes, 11 minutes, or whatever it was.
Fair. Yeah. Next, Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Natalya defeated the Riot Squad in a 6-woman tag match. I was invested in this, and I enjoyed this for what it was. You know, the Riot Squad have definitely decided that they're just going to show up at every opportunity that they're given. They're just going to show up and just fucking wreck house and kick ass.
They're good together.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, they're good. The 3 of them are good together. They're really working on stuff. They have good chemistry.
Yes.
You know, I'd be great. I'd be cool if we just had kick-ass women's 6-man matches all the time.
I would not mind. I mean, I've definitely had my fill of women's six-man tags.
Yeah, but I mean, ones that matter, not the random ones on Raw that are 3 minutes long.
Yeah, let's have ones that are actually worth watching. Yeah, if they consistently can get ones that are actually worth watching, I am all in favor of that. 100%. So, yeah,
fun match, and fun match, cool stuff. The Riot team won. I saw some people talking about how the Riot Squad should have won because they were the well-oiled machine. You don't need to put the optics of Bayley and Sasha Banks losing this match. I would not have been thrilled with, given how vocal the 2 of them were towards this whole women's revolution to begin with.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was okay with them winning.
Absolutely.
Plus, you know what? It doesn't matter. And if it doesn't matter, then why not make a crowd happy?
Yep. And
we bitch all the time about this company booking for heat. Gotta have heat. Sometimes it's okay that the baby faces win.
Absolutely.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Good. This was the first match on the show that didn't feel important, but that doesn't mean it wasn't a good match. Does that make sense?
Exactly. Yeah. That's absolutely right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that match would have been a good moment to not a good moment, but it's bears saying that women's tag belts definitely would be worthwhile.
How about just a feud? How about just a feud women that don't revolve around belts in general?
That's
just one step at a time. You're not wrong, but one step at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about my girl. The rightful top of the mountain, the Ace of Spades, your champion, Christopher. Your champ, Shayna MF and Baszler. All hail.
Listen.
My girl. Backward she rightful. Man, does that belt not look great over her shoulder, Chris?
Listen.
Does that belt not look great? We talk about a champion making the belt.
Listen,
champions make the belt, man.
Listen here, youngster.
I'm older than you are.
I know, but still, listen here, youngster. Listen, I'm all in favor of making Shayna look great. That is something I will never say no to, because she is a singularly great talent. Absolutely, there's no denying that. But I'm not saying this just because I love Kairi Sane, because I do, but I did not feel like this was the right decision to put the belt back on Shayna. It just felt like And here's the reason why. Like, I know you don't follow the results of the Florida house show loop or anything that's going on, in outside of the TV proper. So I know you're not really familiar with that, but my whole thing that has been circulating around on the timeline is that out on the house show loop, they have been running 6-woman tags of Shayna, Marina, and Jessamine versus Kyrie, Io, and insert random woman here that gets pinned at the end of the match because they want to have the horsewomen, the MMA horsewomen looking good. And I don't understand that or, really find logical reasoning for that, because Shayna, Marina, and Jessamine are going to run as heels. Ronda is very clearly going to be a face for as long as they can keep having her be a face, because they like the fact that she brings in money and is a public figure that they can send to television shows to be their champion, and to also say, I was in MMA, but now I'm doing this other thing, which you should totally pay attention to, that gets more people who would, be casuals to come check out the show. So they're going to milk that for as much as they can for as long as it's worth. And you can't escape the fact that eventually you're going to have to bring the 4 of them together. It's going to have to happen eventually. And when that does, it's far, far more difficult to turn Shayna, Marina, and Jessamine face than it is to turn Ronda heel. So for them to reposition Shayna back on top as heel champion again, it's again leaves me scratching my head, because you're clearly not setting up for that moment when Ronda is going to have to turn heel, nor are you doing anybody any favors by putting Shayna back on top in NXT, because we talked about all the advantages you have of Kairi Sane as your NXT Women's Champion, of how you can use her to build up basically anybody and everybody else in the division and help to, give better optics to the women's division as it's being reformed in front of our eyes. With Shayna as champion, and now especially with Marina and Jessamine as her running buddies, that is much more difficult to do. You can't really build anybody up when you have the unstoppable force as your belt holder with 2 lackeys that are just going to cheap shot you at any opportunity they can get to help their buddy get the win. So I am, as much as I love Shayna and the work that she's done and how she has improved 1,000-fold from when she first signed, and over the course of a year, how much she has done to improve herself and to improve her work. That is incredible stuff. But, as much as I love that, and as much as I am happy to see her succeeding, as much as I am glad to see that Marina and Jessamine are starting to get the hang of it and are starting to, be able to be in-ring workers in addition to their reputation as the other half of the horsewomen, is, as far as it pertains to the rest of the division and to the rest of the company, I don't see the logic in this, and I don't think that it's going to pan out well in the long run. So that's just me. But and that's a good point, Madeline. Shayna being back on top holds back other potential heels, namely Bianca Belair, who they very clearly want to have as a top contender. They're not going to run heel versus heel.
No, but there's time. There's time with Bianca, though.
Well, yeah, there's definitely time. Absolutely.
Shayna's what, 37?
36, I think.
Okay, I don't want to age her. She'll come after me.
Probably.
What did you think of the match itself?
Actually, no, we were both wrong. She's actually 38.
Oh, so clock's ticking, unfortunately.
Yes, that is not. You're not wrong about that, but she already had her title run in NXT.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you send her to the main roster?
Too, Chris. That's all it is. That's all she turns down. Look, I don't know if there's anything else, if there's any more story for her down in NXT.
No, absolutely. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. And this is going to be my segue into the next match on the card. But let me tell you something. Becky Lynch is still getting hella raucous cheers, even though she's acting like the heelest heel that ever healed.
And the commentary's trying to tell us that she's the heel, even though we have ears.
Yeah. You want to know a very easy way to turn the story around the corner and get it to where everybody's alignments line up with what the crowd wants? The 2 days after Evolution, Becky's out cutting a promo about how she beat Charlotte and no woman in the division can stand up to her. And out comes Shayna, Marina, and Jessamine and just beat the ever-loving shit out of her. Boom. Suddenly we're back to babyface Becky Lynch fighting down the, dastardly MMA horsewomen. Easy story to tell. I just came up with that in 45 seconds. Easy story to tell. And the crowd will eat it the fuck up.
So you just promote Shayna to the main roster with the belt?
No. If Shayna had lost, I'm saying.
But if Shayna loses, though, her lackeys don't do anything. They couldn't even win her the belt.
They didn't need to have her lackeys do anything, though. That's the thing. They didn't need to have Marina and Jessamine play into the picture yet. Because I think that bringing them into the picture now, that's the thing. Bringing them into the picture now so that it's an established thing before she comes up to the main roster gives too much optics to them, and will get people talking too much about MMA horsewomen versus WWE horsewomen, because that's all that everybody's talking about now, and it's only going to increase now even more as you incorporate Marina and Jessamine into the ring. So it's only going to increase even more if you give them more time. I say you bring them up as a unit without having Marina and Jessamine get in the ring.
Okay.
In front of the TV audience.
I follow your logic now. Okay.
Yeah. And just have them run as a brute squad, and then have Shayna face Becky for the belt.
What did you think of the match?
Which one? The Shayna Kyrie match?
Shayna match. Yeah, let's wrap that up and then we'll move on.
Yeah, let's wrap that up. Yeah. I thought it was a very good match. I liked the execution of the match. I liked the fact that they built on some of the stuff from Brooklyn, and you used a lot of those things as a springboard, springboard them into moments in this match that really made sense, like the same moment of Kira Fuda clutch being reversed by Kyrie into a pinning predicament. That them calling back to that and having Shayna kick out there, that was really smart. I like that a lot. Again, again, great match. I just wasn't a fan of the outcome. But
okay.
Okay. That is what it is. I mean, there's never going to be a pay-per-view where you're going to like the result of every single match. That's just not a thing that happens. So, and at the very least, again, as I said, it was a very good match. So the fact that we got another excellent Shayna Baszler, Kairi Sane match, even if it wasn't the result that I wanted, it's not something I'm going to complain about.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a valid point, Madeline. Coming cause a problem with not enough faces among the SmackDown Live women, and yeah, Tanya, even
not enough faces in the company.
Yeah, and Tanya, even if Becky is great as a heel, and she is fucking legendary right now as a heel, even then, like they need to. There comes a time where you need to bring the character around to match what the crowd wants. Because you
can't keep fighting your crowd. We saw 4 years of this.
Yeah,
like I don't want 4 more.
The more you have Becky continuing to shit talk the rest of the SmackDown Women's division, the more likely you are to start creating some bad blood among people who are fans of acts like Naomi or Asuka or Carmella or the Iconics. The more likely you are to have people start to say, hey, well, when are my people going to get a chance? Or shit like that. So, that is a problem. Again, as George just said, we've had 4 years of that. So, I don't want, I think it's far less likely that Becky will get the kind of treatment that Roman got, but I don't want to even put that as a risk. So.
Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair.
legendary.
I like this match a lot.
Legendary.
I thought Charlotte took a step forward. I thought that she became a wrestler.
This was the best main roster match that Charlotte has had,
and I don't think it's particularly close.
Not at all. Hands down,
instead of just doing moves, I thought she went to wrestling finishing school, and became a wrestler. How about her on the fly audibling into a swanton to break the table?
Yeah, that worked. That worked.
I thought she was great. And I thought Becky Lynch was very good too. I'm not taking anything from Becky Lynch. I thought that Charlotte was tremendous in this match.
And it wasn't a perfect match. Obviously,
it wasn't a perfect match, but it's okay.
They misjudged the first table spot very badly, but
they recovered it perfectly though.
Yeah, in the end, it was a very small thing in the greater atmosphere of an absolutely great match.
I don't like last man standing matches because I think that the flow sucks. Big move. Now we're going to count for a while, and the guy or lady is going to get up. Big move. Now we're going to count for a while. Like, let's just have a regular match. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We talked about the commentary. Michael Cole talking about Becky stabbing Charlotte in the back, and how Becky Lynch only has a cult following, and 95% of the stadium is chanting Becky.
Yeah.
You just sound like an idiot.
Yeah.
Just
you sound dumb into the skid, please,
you
guys.
You sound dumb, and you make me feel dumb for watching your product. I'm like, why am I? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But these two left everything out there, and it was great. I liked it a lot. The only thing we didn't have was the barricade spot. We had everything other. We had every other main roster trope.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's fine. It's a spectacle, right? Nothing wrong with a spectacle.
Overall, like I said, absolutely stellar match. Great match. One of definitely my favorite match of on the whole card, and I am particularly pleased that they did not just rip the belt off Becky. That was That was a very, very smart decision. Not a waste. Not a gut a gut check move to the fans saying, "Ha, fuck you, blonde." But they did the right thing, and hopefully they will read the room better and just steer into the skid now instead of trying to force their way.
Becky? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that was it.
Do you know what I've noticed about Becky Lynch?
What?
She carries herself like a superstar.
Yeah, she does.
She has so much confidence and so much aura. She should have been this from the beginning, and I hope she is this way for the foreseeable future because she comes off so much better now than she did before this turn.
Yeah. Tiny, that does bring up a good point, that sometimes botches in matches actually make it more real.
Oh, absolutely.
That actually is a point that's has some value to it.
100%, yes. 100. Which is why I hate, like, the whole point of this is you're supposed to beat the shit out of your opponent till they cannot answer a 3 count, right? Or a 10 count.
That's not a pretty thing to do.
No, that's That's why we're here, right, ladies and gentlemen? That's why we're here. That's why wrestling is around, So, yeah, I'm with you. Like, every now and again, I'm cool with it. And how about that power bomb off the apron through the table, where Charlotte just died.
Great callback.
Bounced her head off the. Yep.
Great callback to when Becky lost her title to Alexa Bliss. The tables match. Great stuff. Really good stuff.
Yep. Main event, right?
Yeah.
I thought this was too long.
Definitely too long.
I don't need to see Nikki Bella. I don't need to see Ronda Rousey selling for as long as she did. She's good at it. But just because she's good at it doesn't mean she has to do it,
That said, though, Nikki delivered in every way that she needed to for this match. I thought that she did a great job at this match. Very well done. I think that just I don't think that it was like the agenting of the match was such that they could have made it so that Ronda was a little bit more resilient. And, didn't fall into as many of Nikki's moves as much as she did. So,
do you know what I loved?
What?
I loved that Ronda's finisher is presented as instant death.
Mm-hmm.
That you can fight.
Tap out. Yeah.
You can fight like hell until it gets locked in, but once it gets locked in, you're done.
Yep.
I love that. I wish more were like that's such a real MMA thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you fight like hell until the knee bar, the arm bar, the Kimura, or whatever. But then once homeboy or homegirl has it locked in, you're done. Night. You know, I dig that. Nothing makes me sadder than seeing wrestling. This is so indie-rific. Where oh no, I've been in this submission move for a minute and a half and I'm fighting and oh I made it the ropes and now I'm fine. Like okay, your arm is ripped in 3 different spots. Like
yeah.
And yes, wrestling is fake. Yes, we know. Yes. But, you don't have to rub my nose in it, right?
Yeah.
I love that Ronda's finisher is death.
Yep.
And you know what? Sooner or later, someone's going to reach the ropes for that, and it's going to be a hell of a moment.
Yep.
She's going to wrestle someone.
Reminds me of someone else I know who has a finisher that's death.
Yeah.
And, the first time somebody kicked out of it was a huge moment. It's unfortunate it was Brock fucking Lesnar that did, but you know what?
Yeah, and nobody cared.
Still was a huge moment.
And I was in the building when Roman kicked out that the first time, and nobody gave a shit. But the concept is there. It's not a broken concept. You know what else is funny? Like, I've said this before.
Mm-hmm.
I give the main roster a lot of shit in terms of booking and storytelling and star building.
Mm-hmm.
But you look at Ronda Rousey and you say, they may not have completely lost their touch. The simplicity in her story and her dominance is the way wrestling has been booked for years and years and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, what do I always say?
WWE makes it hard.
Yep. Pro wrestling is easy. Don't overthink it. And it's the Ronda Rousey thing is proof that they do know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't do it for whatever reason.
No, well, not with everybody at least.
No,
good point in there, Matt. Though about that top rope finisher moment was kind of scary. With Nikki does have a bad neck, but
true.
Thankfully it worked out. So
true. Thankfully, yeah. I like this match. I didn't love it. I think maybe 4 flat, maybe thereabouts.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, thereabouts 4 flat, something like that.
My personal issues with the Ronda side, I think that this was the match that they needed to have, and it worked out well.
Great show. Great show. Would recommend if you haven't seen it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Would recommend. I may watch that. I may watch that Mae Young Classic again tomorrow. My boss is off tomorrow, so I may watch this in one of my computer monitors.
Yeah.
I may watch the Mae Young final. I may watch that Tony Storm match again, just because.
You should. And you should.
It's great.
You get caught up on the rest of the Mae Young?
I watched the semis. I haven't watched the rest of the Mae Young, but the semis were both
get
awesome.
Caught up on the rest of the Mae Young because there are some gems in there that you need to
my
watch.
new favorite wrestler, Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
greatest person in the world who only deserves
Rhea Ripley
happiness.
versus Case Catanzaro, you're gonna love.
Okay.
Tony Storm versus Hiroyo Matsumoto, you're gonna love. Tony Storm versus Ginny, you're gonna love. Meiko Satomura versus Kelly. I could keep going, but the semis
were both very, very good. I thought the first one was better than the second one.
The quarters are also quite excellent. I definitely recommend the quarters and yeah. I could keep going, but we gotta
wrap up. We got 15 minutes. We got 10 minutes to do Power Struggle.
Yeah. So
run on the cover real fast.
Yeah. We have so far 7 matches announced. Let's start with the one that is by far the most convoluted. We have a 3-way tag team match to determine the finals of the 2018 Super Junior Tag League because somehow and some way, Roppongi 3K, Yoshinobu Kanemaru and El Desperado, and Bushi and Shingo Takagi all wound up with 10 points at the end of the Super Junior Tag League and all wound up in a circle of who beat who so that it's a perfect tiebreaker and you can't have anybody sitting out the match. So it's going to be a 3-way tag team match.
Okay.
Which is kind of strange, but we'll see how that goes.
Why not?
Next,
should be a fun match, fun little opener.
Yeah, should be a fun time. Next, we have Kazukata and Beretta representing Chaos versus Bullet Club, Jay White, and Bad Luck Fale.
Good for Beretta, by the way. Big spot for him.
Definitely, yeah. And I am
healthy.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what goes on there with the new alliance that exists between past and present aces, because it's going to be very interesting to see. I mean, Tanahashi's not involved in the match, but you know that being a factor, you know, that needs to be considered.
He's out waiting the wings.
Yeah. But speaking of Tanahashi, he has a match of his own. He and David Finlay, representing Taguchi Japan, are facing the Golden Lovers, Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi.
Big spot for David Finlay. This is a big spot for X card.
Yeah. What I'm hoping to have happen, and what I know won't happen, is that Ibushi pins Tanahashi and says, "I want another shot at that briefcase," and we wind up with Omega Ibushi at the Dome. But I'm betting that doesn't happen.
No, it's
99.999% chance that doesn't happen.
David Finlay's there to eat the pin.
Yeah, David Finlay.
Beretta's there to eat the pin in his match. Like, you know what? That's okay though. You still have a time to shine.
Yep. And you know, Finlay can show that he can hang in there against Omega and Ibushi. There's only great things on the horizon for him.
Absolutely.
Next, Tetsuya Naito versus Zack Sabre Jr. Nothing on the line, just a straight up singles match. And it's gonna fucking kick ass.
Yeah, it is.
That's gonna be awesome.
These two had a great match in the New Japan Cup, where Sabre broke out the banana split for the first time, or the weird whatever stretch thing he was doing at the time.
Yeah,
I don't see why they wouldn't have a great match here.
Absolutely,
unless there's Suzuki Gun bullshit.
Yeah,
which is entirely possible, but you never know.
You never know. Yeah. Next, one that I'm keeping a very close eye on, and I'm very excited for: Chris Jericho versus Evil for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. Please, dear God, put the fucking belt on Evil.
Yeah, no. I mean, yes, but no. First of all, Chris Jericho's going to the George Otsavis School of Fitness, and I say that as a man who had a pizza for dinner tonight. So that should tell you all you need to know about Chris Jericho's fitness regimen.
Why I say put the belt on fucking Evil.
Yeah, leave the belt by Chris Jericho so I don't have to look at his stomach. You know, like,
I mean, you don't
Chris,
have to
man. The treadmill, your friend. Yeah, Chris, the treadmill, your friend. You know, like, Jericho's gonna hold the belt and drop it to someone at the Dome.
Please let it be Evil.
Like that. Again. This is classic. No, this is classic. You know,
I'd rather leave Naito in a position to be slotted back into the main event scene, though. Yeah, but I don't want him holding another secondary belt. And like it or not, the Intercontinental belt is a secondary belt now. This isn't the Nakamura days when, you know, it was equal to the heavyweight belt. This is now back to secondary status fully and completely. So,
but not on Nakamura.
I don't want
Naito. Naito can be heated up in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So having him hold the Intercontinental for a little bit isn't the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, but
Evil is his lackey, for lack of a better phrase. So unless you're going with a story, they're all. It's all one for one and one for all in LIJ to a degree. But Naito has always been the leader of the faction.
No, I mean after he lost at the Dome, and they were elevating Evil, and like in Evil and Sonata were holding the tag belts, like Naito was very regularly not like making himself look lower than Evil, but he was very, very regularly pushing Evil more. Like, you know, they were letting Evil have the spotlight much more than Naito was. So I think that this is the moment to maybe not.
So now, so what do you do with Naito at the Dome? What do you do with Naito at the Dome then? Because that's the next stop.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's tough to say. That is. I mean, there are other options, but it's hard to say right now.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we kind of a man without a country right now.
Maybe we have a Naito Ibushi number one contenders match.
Sure, he's kind of a man without a country right now, though, in that he doesn't have any clear direction.
Yeah.
So, we'll know more.
I mean,
more after the show, though.
It's very clear the long-term direction is to put him back in the main event scene.
Yes.
Just not sure how we're going to get there.
That's like Dominion next year, though, is when that starts.
Maybe,
or thereabouts. I'm saying that's long term.
Mm.
I'm saying the Dome is in 2 months. It's already November.
Yeah,
like we're coming down to the stretch run,
and
Naito is a man without any clear direction as to where he's going next.
Well, we got a couple of options here that also present themselves. Next up on the Power Struggle card, Tomohiro Ishii versus Minoru Suzuki for the Rev Pro British Heavyweight Championship. Ishii currently holds the title, and he and Suzuki have been trading it back and forth for a while now. So every match has been,
every time they've had a match, it's been really good. So.
Yeah, and this series of matches for the British title has been.
By the way, bummed we're not getting Will Ospreay versus my man Taichi.
Yeah, Will, heal up soon, please.
Get well soon, man.
Yeah,
and
that's the final match on the card.
I mean,
Taichi defends the Never Openweight Championship versus Hiroki Goto, which should also be great because Hiroki Goto is also great. So
kind of a weird card.
Well, I mean, there might be more added to it. I mean, we've still got all the Young Lion undercard stuff. We've got other people
in terms of
who are not doing anything right now, who are not on the card yet. So there might be more added to it, but
we'll see.
It is kind of.
This show is this show Friday? Is this show Saturday morning or Sunday morning?
This is going to be early Sunday morning, so Saturday night into Sunday morning.
Okay, cool. That's good. I can get up early or stay up. You can get up early or stay up late.
Mm-hmm.
Or both. If that's your fancy.
Or both, yes.
It feels like a transitional card, but I feel that coming out of it, we'll have a lot clearer direction as to the Dome, as to what we will going in.
Yeah, and the Power Struggle card almost always is a transitional card.
It's almost like Elimination Chamber.
Yeah,
and it gives you the last clear bit of direction before you hit WrestleMania. It's Power Struggle has a lot of the same role.
Yes.
So, well, take us home, my friend.
Yeah. So, guys, we got a lot of cool stuff to keep an eye on over the course of the next couple of weeks. As we mentioned earlier in the show, we are going to be moving the entire Los Ingobernables podcast network of shows over to Twitch very soon. The start date is aimed for December 1st. And you can find it over at twitch.tv/Los Ingobernables the podcast. We recommend, please, all of you to go register on Twitch, go follow the channel, and help us get a good head start and getting the channel off the ground. Because unlike here on YouTube, Twitch is a pretty wide open landscape for wrestling content right now, and we are trying to make sure that we get in the door with our both feet on the ground running right out the gate. So we'd ask that you please go and show some early support to the channel to help us get started. And we hope that you will be able to come on out and continue to support the show when we move on over there. The rest of the LIP network that you can come and check out as well. Saturday mornings, our brothers in Shooting Debris, Taker's Mania and Mr. Dr. Senju. Saturday mornings, 11 Eastern, 10 Central. Get your breakfast, get your craps. Listen to these two fine gentlemen talk all about professional wrestling. They're going to have a very good show this week because Taker was telling me, or ahead of tonight's broadcast for us, that he is not going to be watching Crown Jewel, and MDS has already canceled his network subscription, so he will not be watching Crown Jewel either.
There's a reason we didn't talk about it, Chris.
Principles over profits. # principles over profits. Please continue to spread that around to show solidarity for being against Crown Jewel. So they're, I'm sure, going to be talking about that aspect of things as to why they are not watching the show, and they'll have other content that you can definitely check out. I'm sure that they will have their own Evolution recap that will have a lot of good content to it as well. So we recommend you definitely go and check them out because they are worth the listen. On Monday nights, LIP brings you the Connoisseurs of Wrestling with the man to my left, right, and center, George Savas, along with Biff Kensington III, Taker's Mania and Legends Lover, bringing you all the best in wrestling history and how it relates to wrestling today. George, what's coming up on this week's episode?
We saw Kane and the Undertaker.
That was this past week's. This past
weekend.
Right.
So
Kane and the Undertaker, Brothers of Destruction.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to pick Taker's brain and figure out why he's so close to the dead man A lot. I talked about this a little bit, and I don't want to get too far afield because I know we're running up against it clockwise. But the reason why Takers is so into the Undertaker is they both came up at the same time, which is part of the reason why I'm so into a guy like Kazukata.
Yeah.
You know, he's my era, and you know, one day Kazukata is going to be an old broken down man, and I'll be an old broken down man, and it will, you know, hit me that much more. But we kind of talked about how that aspect, a generational aspect of, you know, the wrestler that you remember watching as a kid or as a young man or young woman, and then grew old with, even at some level. So we did a kind of a deep dive there. So I hope you check it out.
Definitely, yeah. And definitely check out this next week's episode. I'm not sure what the topic will be, but then again,
yeah, me neither, to be honest. Me neither.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out.
So definitely be sure to check them out. Monday nights, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, running up right against Raw, because it's much better to listen to positive and uplifting wrestling content than to sit through the drivel and slog that is Monday Night Raw.
Yes, sir. Well said. Thank you.
Indeed. Thursday mornings, you can check out Grounds for Development with Biff Kensington III and Greg the Hold, aka the Saskatchewan Spitting Nerve Hold, talking NXT 205 Live and all the rest of the WWE developmental system at the Performance Center to get an idea of what the future holds at WWE and hear about all the up-and-coming talent. So be sure to check them out. Thursday mornings is when their show is aired, and that will continue even after we move over to Twitch. And finally, one Tuesday a month. We're not sure when it's going to be happening this month yet, but one Tuesday a month you can catch me, Legends Lover, and Takers Minion with One Night at the Round Table, where we talk for a couple hours about just whatever topics we like in the world of professional wrestling. We had our first episode 2 Tuesdays ago, the 23rd. We talked a little bit about Roman Reigns with his leukemia announcement, and we talked about Chris Benoit and concussion, CTE symptoms, and how those things manifest themselves over time. You know, it's not your typical discussion. We get pretty heavy, pretty intense about things, but it's good discussion. So we definitely would encourage you to come and check it out. And when we have the date for this month's episode decided, we will let you know. It'll be a random Tuesday. I'm guessing, if I had to put a guess on it, it's going to be probably the 20th. So the Tuesday before Thanksgiving will probably be the date for it, but we'll keep you posted on when it will be. Outside of the LIP network of shows, you can check out our friends Tanya Rogers out in the chat tonight with Suplexes and Shea Butter, featuring Danny and Princess Claudine. They're bringing you the perspective of wrestling from the perspective of 3 women of color. Great content on their shows. It's a
sorely needed content.
Sorely needed content indeed. It's a somewhat irregular broadcasting schedule, so keep an eye on Tanya's Twitter at Militia Malice Joe, and to find out when they are going to be broadcasting and to stay up to date about their schedule. And Tanya is herself just a great follow anyway, because she is excellent and we love her. Don Sal with match fixing over at Outerline Media. You can check him out on his Twitter at Kusmano_Sal. He brings a lot of great insight into the wrestling world when he's covering wrestling content, and he also covers a lot of soccer content as well. So you can definitely check him out with match fixing. He is a great listen and just an overall awesome dude. We're happy to have him as a good brother, part of the network as well. And you can also check out Darnell Mitchell with the Queer Nerds at the Queer Nerds with a Z on Twitter, bringing you podcasting from the perspective of people of color, women, the LGBTQ plus community, and others who are underrepresented in wrestling, because wrestling is for everybody, as we always say here, and is important to get the perspective of those who are normally not well represented in the wrestling community as well. So be sure to check out the Queer Nerds with their schedule as well. Being somewhat irregular, it's important to throw the follow over to their Twitter feed so you know when they will be broadcasting as well. You can follow us on Twitter as well at 2guys1sport, number 1 in the handle, to get all the information about the show and what's going to be happening with the show here for us. And you can follow our personal Twitters as well at CrazyChris576 and at G@Savas. to get our insight into all the other things that we like to chat about, because we are multifaceted individuals and we like to talk a lot.
We are men for all seasons, my friend.
That we are. We spray to all fields, as we say.
We do.
And if you're looking for any non-wrestling related content, please feel free to check me out over on my Twitch page, twitch.tv/crazychris576, bringing you all the video game streaming that you like for your heart's content. Tomorrow night is Friday, which means it's Friday Night Fights. We are streaming Destiny 2. We are having co-op games with viewers and subscribers for the channel. And people who are regulars can come on in, join us for some Gambit, some Crucible, some Strikes, whatever you guys want to do. Maybe we'll even get a raid together. Who knows? Important thing is, just come and hang out. And every other night of the week that we're streaming, Saturdays, Sundays, Mondays, and Wednesdays, come on by for some awesome Borderlands 2 content, or any other games that I might feel like playing. I might be working some more Heroes of the Storm into the schedule at some point soon as well. So yeah, come on by if you would like some non-wrestling content as well. Twitch.tv/crazychris576. Follow us on our YouTube page here while it is still up, because we could still use the support even while we are going to be moving over, because there's a possibility. I depends on how much time investment is involved in it, but I might decide to take the VODs from Twitch, upload them here to YouTube for anybody that can't catch the live broadcast, and then also put them on iTunes. And of course, speaking of iTunes, please follow us as well on our iTunes page. Check the link in the description below the video. Give us a rating, give us a recommendation, throw us a subscription on iTunes as well. And last but not least, of course, let everybody know among your wrestling community of friends and acquaintances to come and check us out Thursday nights, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, because we'd love to have you guys. You guys make the show great. Love to have you in the chat, chatting with us, and just add into the show. Overall, you are all wonderful. And I think that is it. So, George, please take us out.
Before I do, I mentioned this last week. I'm going to mention it again this week. It's cold. So if you have spare coats, gloves, hats, scarves, winter gear, find a place to donate them. You'll make someone's day and maybe save a life.
Yes.
So can't stress that enough. It's coat drive season. So people need all the help that you can provide. Thanks again for listening. Heavy show today, but it was cathartic on my end.
Yeah.
To kind of talk about the Roman Reigns stuff, and then talk about the joy that was Evolution. And it really was a joyful show. Thanks for starting your weekend with us. We really do have the best fan base in the world, Chris. We're blessed, aren't we? We really are blessed.
Yes.
We appreciate it more than you guys will ever know. So thanks for starting your weekend with us. Be good to each other. Be kind to each other. Don't work yourselves into a shoot. That's Chris. I'm George. This is Two Guys, One Sport. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Episode 79 is in the books.